South Africa exit in the round of 32 of the FIFA World Cup. And I don't know what many of you think. I've seen a lot of people congratulating them for making it that far. I think it's a disgrace that we got knocked out, and I think we played poorly at this World Cup. Obviously, guys, I'm obviously going to unpack why I think so and deep dive into it. As always, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on post notifications for more football content. Yeah, guys, let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, guys, I, you know, I have a few days to think about. A lot of people come out with reactionary videos like same day or next day. I just took a couple of days to come think about this. You have to like think clearly. I don't know how I can articulate this, but you have to like think clearly. And it's actually not that good that we got out this early. I mean, if you watch the game against Canada, I don't want to deep dive too much into that game. I thought the one of the worst games I've ever watched. It was so boring. But there's a few problems I just wanted to highlight. Like we shouldn't have gotten out because of Canada. Canada's not that much better than us. You'd feel relieved if you got out because of a side that's maybe playing home ground. Canada wasn't even playing at home. That's number one. Number two, they were not even that much better than us. If we actually had played some sort of well, I think a lot of players let us down in that game. But that's a tournament in a whole. I don't think we performed to the level we could. Who should the eyes be at? That's what I'm trying to say. Who should be in the spotlight for that? And I think it's the technical team, Hugo Bruce. I just think they got this whole World Cup all wrong. I think they got it all wrong. From the first minute of the World Cup to the last, maybe the South Korea game, I think we did play well in that game, but we were basically desperate in that game to go through, so we had to play. But in situations where we needed maybe, I don't know, to control a game or whatever, this whole World Cup, we were just, ah, it was so bad. And I see people congratulating Abonto. Why are we congratulating these players who played awfully? These players did not play, some of them maybe hold their head up high. Who else holds their head up high? I want to start off, I'm looking down here at the main points. I have them jotted down. I want to start off with the coach who's supposedly not retiring anymore. I think it's a huge trend. If we let Hugo Bruce continue, I do not know what we are doing as a nation because Hugo Bruce should not be continuing a job. I think this World Cup has been, for me, a massive failure. We got through, yes, but what did we see from our side? What do people recognize of South Africa? What do people point out? This is South African football. Nothing. We were just out there playing. We played shit against Mexico for no apparent reason because of him and his technical team. We played decent for about 15 minutes of the last 15 minutes of the game against Czech Republic. We played well. And South Korea, we played well until we scored the goal. Then we decided to sit in. Then against Canada, when he was supposed to take the game to Canada, we did that in short spells, like what, the 5 minute spells, 5 minutes spells. We never had full control of that game. We just allowed them to play because we were scared. That's a reflection of the technical team, the coach. The players obviously let him down. I think the players let him down massively because I thought in the Canada game he looked so frustrated. I think the players in the Canada game let him down, but in the rest of the games it's on him. So why would we be continuing with this guy? I think the whole technical team, from the coach to the kit man, should be fired because they're all useless. By the way, okay, maybe not the kit man. I'm exaggerating, but most of the staff, because I do not understand in what world is this a success? Because what do people identify from South Africa? We were supposed to go there, showcase the PSL, babo, showcase what we can bring, and we did none of that. Instead, we went there, and a few players can hold their head up high. I mean, if you look at the players that can hold their head up high, we've got Mbogazi, who whole tournament played so well. Ocon played so well. Who else can you identify played well? I think Setole's redemption from the first game, and Setole maybe because of his redemption story. But that's all. Mufukeng again, one game he showed out. Then the coach threw him under the bus in the game against Canada, where okay he's not there, but there was no reason for you to sub him off. You know, there was no reason to sub him off at halftime. Where it just it's just so frustrating. You know what I'm so angry about is some people are actually clamoring for this, and I actually happy that this happened. Mate, I'm not happy at all. I'm fuming. I saw nothing from South Africa that makes you know that thing that you can talk about. I mean, I have a friend that lives in France, right? He lives in France. What would he, he's like, I can't even tell my friends, oh, whatever, whatever, whatever. Because there's nothing to identify. You can maybe talk to them about Mbogazi, maybe, you know, but who else? And then we want to continue with Hugo Bruce and his technical team who are all useless. And then even if he thingy, why are we taking recommendations from this guy? Because he's recommending Helman Mkhalela. Hell no, should we be appointing that guy? First of all, he has no licenses. Number two, I hate appointing an assistant manager from the coach. If the coach is going, then everyone should go. Then we start afresh again. I just think I think Hugo, obviously, I'm not here to disrespect Hugo Bruce. I think he's done well for South African football. I mean, look at the AFCON, what he's done in, that unbeaten run that we went for, the qualifying for the World Cup. For me, qualifying for the World Cup was an amazing achievement. This World Cup, okay, we made it, made history, but we scored one open play goal the whole tournament. I'm just devastated. Other African teams are balling out here, and we have to clamor for this, and we have to submit ourselves as a lowly nation. No, we're not. We're not that lowly that we have to, play like this, And Hugo Bruce, he deserves some criticism. Okay, he did well taking us here, but in this World Cup, honestly, So I wanted to touch on him. I don't think he should continue. I don't think his technical team should continue. I think everyone should be fired. Apparently, rumors are they lied to him about Mexico's approach. There are grounds to be fired, and we still continue with them. They lied to him about how Mexico's going to approach. Obviously, it's not from a reliable source. But if that's true, Jorge, they lied to him about how Mexico's going to approach. You have to double up the sides. you know. Yeah, I'm looking down here. I want to move on. Obviously, move on from you. I want to just Safa and Danny Jordan, who should not be in a job, by the way. But I think a lot of people are crying about that. It's a tune everyone is singing. I don't want to be diving into that. But I just think Safa, if you're going to, I don't think, I think Safa should be looked at, It should be looked at. It's just something's not right here. Something is not right. People are not being held accountable. With Safa, a lot of people are not being held accountable. Who's holding the Boteni Jordans and them and that CEO accountable? No one is. He's not holding Hugo Bruce accountable because he qualified for us for the World Cup. Okay, thank you, Hugo, for qualifying us for it. It's not our first time here. We're clamoring for this guy like we're Cape Verde, where we owe this guy a statue. Mate, we don't owe this guy jack shit. We've been at a World Cup, I think 2 more times or 3. Then this guy, we were there in 2010. Of course, we were host. We were there, I think, in 2002. Why does this guy deserve a statue for that? And he's not held accountable just because he got us here. Nah, no way. People need to be held accountable. People starting from Safa at the top brass down to Hugo should be held accountable. I mean, I'll make an example for South Korea. We beat South Korea and arguably better than them. Look at when the manager and the players are getting off the airport. People are throwing stuff at them. People are like, they're raging. It shouldn't have happened. I saw the his press conference, the South Korea coach. They were accusing the players of having food poisoning or something because they lost against us. It's a huge ordeal. And South Korea is not even a big, that top nation to be winning or even doing anything in this World Cup. But the expectations were that high. They got out with 3 points. They won actually a game where they were arguably better than Thingy. They have more open play goals than us. But look at what's going on. Just because we made it out because we basically scored a penalty against Czech Republic and we beat them. We were disgusting against Mexico for no reason. I'm still not over that Mexico result. It was arguably, we didn't redeem ourselves from that. 10 minutes against Czech Republic is not redeeming ourselves. We were bad against Czech Republic. We weren't playing that much well. So I just think people should be held accountable. That's the second point I wanted to touch on. Moving on, now we can go to the players, Some players some players need to be relieved of their duties. Unfortunately, some players need to be relieved of their duties. I think Ikram Reina should never be called up for the national team again. Because where do you do? I think Obrim Diva, I think that should be his last game for the national team. I'm not saying he played well. He played well. I'm not saying he played badly. I'm just saying at his age, Also Khuliso Mudau, I think Khuliso Mudau should also be dropped from the national team. I think Mudima and Mudau, I think that should be their last rodeo. With Ronwen Williams, I was trying to call out Ronwen Williams to be not called up, because he's the one that annoys me the most. Because if you watch the game against Canada, mate, why are PSL goalkeepers holding on to the ball for this long? Because even if you sub him out and put on Usipo from my team, he does the same thing with Pirates. I do not get what is going on with this thing of holding the ball for years. That's why I heard the Canada manager Unduche Simash talking about not pressing Williams. It was intentional because he holds on to the ball for 2 minutes. Begamand, when we concede, we have no time left because you've been holding on. You wasted basically, if you in total, if you count how many minutes, I think you wasted close to 10 minutes holding the ball. He just holds the ball, army. And then you're gonna, okay, you can blame players for not availing themselves. But still, he does this every time. I watched them the game, I think it was Sundowns. I think they were playing in a foreign country. I don't want to say Algeria or Morocco. Oh, it was Algeria. It was against MC Algeria. Thank you. It was against MC Algeria. Mate, I've never seen anything like this. Uronwen was holding onto the ball for years. For years. What is this thing? Where are they getting this thing? I think he should also be relieved of their duties. The problem with relieving Uronwen, his understudy is basically the same age group, and he does the same thing. And then the ones under him are basically useless. They basically South Africa has a goalkeeping issue. I don't think the goalkeepers in this country are all particularly all that good. That's why basically teams are finding like looking to outsource. Most teams are gonna outsource for goalkeepers, find foreign goalkeepers. I just think the goalkeeping situation is bad. That's why Ronwen, I'm not gonna say he must. I think if we had a better goalkeeping situation, like if we had the Spain goalkeeping situation, I think Ronwen Williams would be relieved of his duties because I don't think he's particularly all that good. It's kudos to him. He's been a great captain. He has a bronze medal. He should be relieved. Abo Mudao, Nabo Mdiba. We have solid backups for them. I don't think those guys should be called up. They had an age where that centre back partnership should be our centre back partnership for the next year's upcoming. Unless someone appears, about Tylon Smith or maybe other centre backs come up. But I think those two should stay, should be the main core. Then we replace them with new fullbacks. Maybe we'll Mike Mamosha and put in someone there. Maybe Gabi in the dead left back, start, or Bradley Cross if he shows up, Just start. I just think we need fresh blood in the defense, Another player who needs calling out is Tebo Mokoena. It was a poor performance from him against Canada, but he's been carrying this nation for so long that I think he can be excused. We also need fresh midfielders again. I think we do have fresh midfield. I think we just need to freshen up that midfield. We need progressive midfielders. That's Tole and Mokoena combination. As much as Hugo Bruce likes it, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, we need a better player to partner Mokoena. I don't know why he doesn't want to try and bartend Mokoena, but then again, I think Stolle redeemed himself. He's a good player. Why did you... That's why it touches back. I don't want to react too much to the Canada result, I just want to leave that out the way. I just want to deep dive into what's going on. Then we go upfield. I think the 10 situation, the wingers, I think we're good wingers. The creative players. I think we have so much creative players that we don't need to reinforce in that area. Just maybe call up other players. We do have other players. I think the main issue we have to highlight, which is the main issue for South Africa, is the striker issue. That's not a strike. We have no strikers at all. We have Evidence Mahoba, who can't finish to save his life, but he's good at holding up play, but can't finish. We have Ikram Reyners, who supposedly can finish, but can't trap the ball. Ikram Reyners can't trap the ball. His pressing is dumb. He presses like a dumb idiot who's just running around, respectfully. He's just running around like a headless chicken pressing. Then we have Lyle Foster, who... I don't know what to make of that guy, because I do think he can link up play. I do think sometimes his finishing is good. But sometimes he just doesn't look interested. He doesn't run as much, that's the problem. He just doesn't look interested for me, I thought we could have used him against Canada. Not putting in Reyners, who's useless. I just think something needs to be done because I don't think anyone else... And the problem is, someone alluded to this. I think it was a point I saw it on Twitter. Someone said, Bafana, we can't call up anyone else. Which is true. Those are the three main strikers. Who else are we calling up? Because all the strikers in South Africa are useless. There is no good striker. I just think South Africa needs to outsource as in a foreign coaches or something, and address this issue of strikers because our strikers are not good at all. I mean, our Brian Leon come in and showing us flames go PSL. That's what I'm talking about. I just think South African football is not at the the striker situation, especially is not at the level that it should be. We have no strikers at all, and we need to address this ASAP because it's gonna be a concern. We have zero strikers that are actually particularly good. We don't have strikers that run the channels. No one runs the channels. They hold up play. Is as much as I say Mahopa can hold up play, it's not elite level hold up play. Ikram Reyners can't hold up play. He can't trap the ball. He just runs around. Lyle Foster doesn't look arsed, and he's I just and who are we gonna? The problem is there's no one else to be called up. We need fresh blood. We need new strikers. Maybe outsource for the PSL because to train new strikers. I don't know, but we need to find a solution for the strikers. But those three strikers are not the solution. I'm sorry, So I think that's the issue. I think we also struggled. We need a striker in that tournament. We so need. I thought he maybe should have played a false nine because those strikers were all useless. But that's just me, And then also touching on what style of play did we show at this World Cup? And that's the next point. I have like 7 points jotted down. What style of play did we show in this World Cup? If someone can tell me that. We showed a style of play at the AFCON. You remember that AFCON where we reached bronze medal? I saw a style of play. Ever since that AFCON, I've never seen a style of play from Hugo Bruce. He's grinding out results. He's scared of other teams. I think Hugo Bruce, he didn't take much confidence in that AFCON run. Because, okay, in that World Cup qualifiers, okay, maybe the World Cup qualifiers, some of them we did play attractive because I think against Nigeria we did play better football. But then I think Hugo Bruce also for an old man like him to be fearful. I think he's a reactionary coach a bit. I don't think he's a proactive coach. A proactive coach, he makes opposition. You don't react to the opposition essentially. You have your style of play, and the opposition has to react to you. That's what Hugo Bruce was, and that's what we were at the AFCON and some of the World Cup qualifiers. But ever since the friendlies and whatever, we were a bit too reactionary. We were selecting a squad to combat the other teams in the group. It just didn't make sense to do that. If we have our own style of play, that's silky, that's whatever. If we played attractive football that we know we can play, we would have beaten Int. If that AFCON squad came as against Czech Republic, we could have played them off the park. But because you're selecting 11 defenders, you want to react to teams. It's not the right way to go about it. We don't have a style of play anymore. People can't recognize South Africa. We're just going to be recognized because we qualified. But what did you actually do at the tournament, going one open play goal and a penalty? And embarrassed ourselves in the first game doing absolutely nothing. So we've lost our identity. He doesn't have an identity anymore. That's what ties into the reason why he should go. There's no identity anymore with the squad. We're picking players based on maybe loyalty. Some players are being picked based on loyalty. Some players are picked based on the opposition and what the opposition will do. That's not the right. And so no elite level manager does this. If you name all the elite managers you can name, no one selects their team for another team. I mean, in the PSL, elite managers in the PSL, what is not going in against Into? What is not going in playing against Devon Seats? Or he's not going in playing against whatever, and selecting a team based on that. He's a proactive coach. I'd like to think Rulani Mokwena is a proactive coach. Abu Pep. I don't want to Abu Pep, Abu Jürgen Klopp and all those guys. Those are proactive coaches. They do obviously analyze the opposition, but when they put up a lineup, it's not a lineup reacting to the opposition. It's a lineup I know it's best, and the opposition have to react to me. That's not what Hugo Bruce did. He went in scared. He underestimated. He's gonna always obviously call out the PSL, which I will do in the next point. But I just think for the group we were in, we could have competed. Personally, Mexico's competing with players that are not playing in recognizable leagues. We could have competed. My points, and he was just scared. Fear got us out of this World Cup. That's why I'm saying it's devastating, but also it's a tragedy. We shouldn't have gone out this way. We could have made it to us. Look at now, as I'm recording this, right? Morocco just knocked out Netherlands. Have no fear. These teams are not. The gap between Europe and Africa is slowly. I just don't understand why we were so fearful. And then to tie into the standard of the PSL, I heard Hugo Bruce talk about that the PSL is 2 levels behind. He's right. The PSL is as much as me and the league, I'll keep on supporting it. We obviously on this channel will be reacting to a lot of PSL stuff, So tune in and turn on post notifications for that. The standard of the PSL is not horrific. It's getting better, but it's still awful, Obviously, I will do the video when the PSL is about to launch of what's wrong with it, or maybe in the coming days. But I just think the PSL, I think he's right. I think the PSL, we have a lot of things are being masked. The big teams, I think these players are used to, why maybe the World Cup, some of these players, they're used to a PSL where every team is afraid of them. I mean, coaches are coming in and scared of the Pirates. You heard about Atazwan and say, hey, la Poctolo 6, la Pescoti. You're going in scared, for it. So I just think South Africa, we need essentially, the standard needs to go obviously on the PSL. We need to export a lot of players. I think we need to export it. As a lot of players are obviously a lot of players are going overseas, but we need to export. Look at the top African countries. Ivory Coast, dingy. They They're exporting. Just export, because the PSL won't improve now. Okay, we can look to improve the PSL, but I don't think the PSL is looking to improve. I think we're stagnant. With the way things, the system is right now, the PSL is not built to improve. The PSL is not, I will obviously do a video on that. The PSL, the system, the regulations, the way it is right now, is not built to improve. So I think the best course of solution for the players is to export. We need to export more players to Europe so they can develop better. Because now they're playing same tier level where it's becoming too easy. I mean, the PSL is now too easy for him. I think Apollo, the PSL is also easy for him. The PSL is too easy for him. Again, players need to export and leave. We need to play, leave this PSL, unless the regulation changes in the PSL. I don't think they're gonna change anytime soon with the management or the leadership in there. But there will be a video coming up for that. But I just think players need to be exported. And obviously, to end it off, guys, I think we need a new coach. I think we need a new coach. We need a South African coach, a coach from here. I just think it's the right way to go. I don't believe in the national team being coached by a foreign manager. It shouldn't be happening. Safa should be going out and getting with Jingles. I think he deserves it for what he's done. As much as I think Jingles has a little bit of flaws, and I think he's an overrated coach for what he's done for South African football. This job has to be for him. No way should you be bringing back Hugo Bruna or Hellman. Imagine Hellman and Mkalela taking over. Coach, what has he ever coached over the span? Hellman Mkalela should be getting his licenses. Ayo coach into Chippa United. That's what he should be doing, Ayo coach it. Build your rep. It's unfair to have Kevin Hunt, Nabo, Pito Msimane, even Nohulani, for what they've done for South African football. Then they're going to be eclipsed by Hellman Mkalela. It's a disgrace for me. And if it happens, it needs to be called out. And I hope the relevant people call it out. Because it's disrespectful to all those South African legendary coaches, for that to happen to them, So, in a sense, that's what happened. I just think, in conclusion, I just think South Africa, I don't think people should be clamoring that much. I think people need to be held accountable, for the results. I don't think we should have gone out. I don't want to touch on the game, against Canada or the games. But I don't think we presented ourselves or applied ourselves in the correct manner in this World Cup. And it showed. We were exited around the 32. Look at the bracket. We could have easily, if we beat Canada, that side, guys, let me just end it up. I'm going to cry too much here. It's just sad seeing my country go, guys. Yeah, guys, as always, guys, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like. If you enjoyed, obviously, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more football content, local football, World Cup, check out our channel, obviously. And of course, share this video, guys. We are a new channel, so hopefully you share this video. And as always, people, peace.